It's actually Mole from Atlantis: The Lost Empire, but close enough.
All right, all right.
Damn, you're right. Yeah.
Okay. Anyway, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Smudcast number 613. How Black Christmas, capital Black Christmas, changed after Me Too. And I guess she didn't want to do the hashtag, so she used the Me Too in double quotes. I don't know why, but there you go. It's a Maggie May Fish Wednesday. I don't know how or why we're doing it this part 1/3 into January, but you know. Every month, every time we try to, but she just hasn't been pumping them out as she used to, unfortunately. So we take what we can get with Maggie May Fish.
We gotta scrape the bottom of the barrel, but it's still fine.
either that, or there's also the other distinct problem that she is doing long hour videos that are over an hour long.
Are those popular at all? Because the ones that we're looking at are very they're not as popular as her older stuff. So.
I don't know.
Yeah.
It might also be that she's transferring over to Nebula like Lindsay Ellis did. Since Lindsay Ellis is now still making content again, it's only on Nebula rather than YouTube. Because
really? Is there a reason for that?
Yeah. I have no idea. It's either she can't take the quote-unquote toxicity of YouTube, or she is putting all her content behind a paywall.
Ah, interesting.
So since apparently in order to watch Nebula, you either have to be a patron of hers, or you have to sign up for the streaming thing. So I'm not sure what the deal is.
Interesting.
I just know that I just was scrolling around Lindsay Ellis's thing I saw in her community tab. It's just like, apparently she is still making content, only it's on Nebula.
Okay, interesting. Well, this video came out 3 weeks ago in December, and it's only got about 42,000 views, so people still watch her stuff, and they still like it. And I'm glad I'm glad people are watching, because we like watching Maggie May Fish. She's crazy, she's fun, and there's all kinds of goofy stuff that we would never have seen if she didn't make it, so... Comparing slasher flicks from the 70s to now and remakes, who else is going to do that except for Maggie May? So, I wouldn't even have known about Black Christmas until someone pointed out Maggie May Fish was doing a video on it. Like, oh my God, Black Christmas, what's that? So, you never know what she's going to come up with, though. She's pretty weird with her analogies, allegories. Ideas in general, makeup tutorials. I don't know. Everything's just kind of a weird thing. So,
like her statement that I'm a bigger Zack Snyder fan than any Zack Snyder fan.
Yeah, where she trashes the fact that he had
apparently Islamophobic / homophobic in Dawn of the Dead,
because he showed a bunch of his Islamists praying at the start of his film. Like, what? How does that translate to not liking? I don't get it, Maggie, but okay. She says a lot of weird stuff, and that's why we love her. So
yeah, because she's crazy.
We don't know. We don't know if this is serious or she's just making it up. I bet it's a bit of both. So, but that's the great joy of trying to figure that out. Anyway, we are at 13 minutes and 20 seconds, or roughly 20 seconds with this video. I'm guessing, as we can see, the first thing is a sponsorship, so maybe we'll get some ad stop at the end.
This video is brought to you by patrons like you.
Uh-oh.
Oh, hi. I didn't see you there. Welcome to
Conversation,
gosh, where we take a look at two films in
She's
conversation.
still doing this?
I hope you're cuddled up with your
she's
favorite
faking
little critter
the
sitting
yokel
by a
accent.
crackling LED fire, because today we are discussing a classic Christmas horror movie and its remake made 45 years later. Just a heads up, it's a pretty heavy topic. We will be discussing SA and gendered violence, plus spoilers for all of these films. So,
just like the Hispanic way.
Essay.
This woman is completely nuts.
So that's sexual assault, not S. Okay, I get it. All right. Jeez. All right, fine. She couldn't just say it, but no, all right, fine.
Feel free to skip this one and instead eat some homemade holiday jam. You'll also notice a lot of but if you want the uncensored version, that's up on my Patreon for all of my patrons to see. And on Nebula, shout out to my niece for setting that all up for me. So, without further ado,
She has a niece? That implies her family has other children or brothers and sisters that had kids. Huh, interesting. Anyway.
Implies that anybody likes her.
spooky.
Want to die.
Black Christmas, the OG, was released in 1974 and follows a group of sorority sisters who are stalked and killed by a mysterious man. While it's often considered one of the first films to solidify the slasher as a genre, along with Texas Chainsaw Massacre, which came out the same year, its director Bob Clark has always insisted that he considered it a psychological...
Dunn, I'm getting a lot of feedback on your mic there.
Really? Huh. That's odd.
It's the breath of Maggie.
The breath of... Can you right-click on, what is it, user settings? No.
Sure.
Right-click
One
on your microphone and click push to talk. That would do it.
Okay, 1 second. Alright. Connections. Things. Voice and audio. Okay. Let's do.
Okay. Well, I think you're dead now. I see the green circle, but I hear nothing. Yeah, it's totally dead.
I think you unplug your...
Yeah, all you gotta do, Dunn, is go to the bottom left where you see your microphone icon where it says mute. You right click and you select push to talk, and then select your button.
Yeah, I think well, the thing is my computer's very old. It doesn't even have focus. Okay, so I'll just mute myself when I'm not talking.
Okay.
All right, that can also work.
Not a problem. Okay, let's keep going.
horror film. The psychopath of a woman trapped in a world
apparently,
dominated
Smud,
by
you're
men,
sounding
not by
muffled on
number,
stream.
but by sheer power
Oh,
and
really?
societal control.
Yeah, maybe
and as
you
far
have
as
the wrong
slashers
mic
go, you
selected.
could do a lot worse. To me, the scariest parts of Black Christmas are the moments that could seem the most mundane, or even most comical to some viewers, but to others, it encapsulates the sheer terror of never being able to feel safe, not even in a sanctuary of other women, or during a jolly holiday like Christmas. Throughout the film,
How does that
women
have anything to do with
seemingly
anything?
normal interactions with men. Well, as normal as you can get within a sexist society. When the protagonist, Jess, goes to...
Wait. Is this the original film or the 2019? What are we talking about?
I think it's probably the original.
Okay, so back in the 70s, it was sexist.
I don't doubt that it was. I'm just like, why does it matter?
I want to know the context. What are we talking about, Maggie? Don't just lay this out. Don't just lay this out in the open. Give me some context. Where's the sexism? Show me the scene with the sexist. That's all we got to do.
tell her Peter that she's pregnant and plans to get an abortion.
I'm going to have an abortion.
Instead of I'm sorry you're going through this. Let me know if there's anything you need from me, and you have my support. He is
You can't make a decision like that. You haven't even asked me.
self-centered.
Wait. Maggie.
Hey,
That's his kid.
This is like something that like a Maggie type of person would say. It's like, pregnancy, that's only like a women's choice to make. Like a man is not part of it. No, absolutely not. It's 50-50.
Yeah, this is pretty much a family event, and men and women are involved in the process of baby making, and whether it's adoption or actual classically doing it, men should have some say in having a family. Maybe the guy wants a family. Maybe he wants to have a child. What's wrong with that argument? Now, we're in the story of a horror slasher flick, so it's okay to have these really strange segues where it's like, whoa, we're getting really deep and serious here while something is getting killed off from the side, or the pacing is off as a result of that. So you have these dips of horror, and then it calms down, and then we're talking about rape, and oh my god. So that's probably not the best avenue for bringing up these topics, but I don't see how this is a problem.
Well, here's the thing. Maggie, bless her heart, brought up the idea of RoboCop being trans because he had lost his penis and was going through the face of a woman.
In a dream flashback sequence, yeah. Therefore, he wants to be female. What? Yeah, she's great.
Don't you ever consider anyone but yourself?
And
I'm not going to change my mind.
We'll see.
vaguely threatens her. After the first victim goes,
We'll see. Yeah, what a
That's
threat.
not a threat. That's not a threat.
You might change your mind, dear. Oh,
Or else.
oh dear, jeez.
missing, sisters try to report it to the authorities. Authorities, who of course don't listen, until her distraught boyfriend barges in to validate what they've already told the cops.
I want to know why nothing's being done about Claire Harrison being missing and why this idiot gets away with saying the things he does.
You know, it's not these women's fault that they can't speak man. Later, Jess's boyfriend sneaks into the sorority home and scares Jess. He proposes to her, out of the blue.
I'm quitting the conservatory and we're getting married.
It's the opposite of romantic.
Wait. Do you understand what he's doing here? He is giving up his current academic whatever endeavors to raise a child. He wants to help her. He wants to have a family with. This is not a bad thing. This is him taking responsibility.
I think on paper, yes, but the way that it's portrayed in this scene is really freaking creepy. This seems like something out of 50 Shades of Grey.
Oh,
I do have like conflicted feelings, but yes, like on paper, it definitely does feel like he's sacrificing something that like he was like holding important in his life to exchange for the partner. But it's just this is shit.
Yes, 70s schlocky horror films generally have rather inconsistent narratives.
It reminds me of something that like Red Letter Media would watch on.
Yes, for sure. Yeah.
Wheel of the Worst or something.
Exactly.
Best of the worst, I think.
Yes,
Yeah.
Best of the Worst. That's the one. I haven't watched those for 3 years now. It's so long.
But yeah, this it could also be that the guy is a bad actor. That's also possible, or it could be that he's a slasher villain. Those are the two options.
Yeah, like that was like my first thought as well. That like, is he a slasher villain? So, because like that portrayal would be fitting for him. Otherwise, it doesn't really make sense to me that like he's like doing this creepy vibe. Either the slasher character himself, or he's really just a bad actor.
All right. Here is Funko Pop Ted Bundy. Hey, how's it going, buddy? Until women find a way to have kids without a dick or a turkey baster, men do have a say in the argument, not to mention Roe v. Wade being passed was so unconstitutional that even the left's hero, Ruth Bader Ginsburg, agreed that it shouldn't be passed. And if you guys don't know the history of Roe v. Wade, apparently the woman who apparently said she was raped wasn't. Or
Yeah, she admitted that in an interview.
Right. Yeah. So bad policy with bad evidence doesn't make for good law. But yeah, this is a creepy scene, and he's a bit sort of saying he should do the right thing, and then it's like, what the hell is going on in a slasher film? This is where we need tone. We need a little bit more context on what's going on with the build up here. So anyway.
It's invasive, controlling.
We'll say something.
And when she doesn't immediately give up her life in favor of his,
You can't ask me to drop everything I've been working for and give up all my ambitions because your plans have changed. Be realistic. I can't marry you.
he leaves.
You are not going to abort that baby.
Peter, you're not going to tell me what I can and cannot do.
Jess, if you try getting an abortion...
I think you better leave.
If you try getting an
I said
abortion...
get out.
As the bodies pile up,
Like, how did they have that they ended up with the baby? That was that like they didn't plan it, or like she just changed her mind or something like that. It's just like, because I don't get the full picture.
Yeah.
Because like that would be another obstacle against her.
So she doesn't want the
This is so
child
strange.
because of her ambitions. He's like, "Oh, we gotta, take care of this kid." She's like, "No, no, no, we're getting an abortion." And you're like,
And the guy is giving up his ambition in
Yeah.
order to support the woman with the
I
child.
think that I'm seeing why Maggie likes this film.
but this is
Oh,
while the
no.
bodies are piling up. So something's happening in the other parts of the movie where there's this murderer running around. You're like, what? Okay. And these people are arguing about having a family or not. And you're like, oh, what's going on with this story? Probably not the most well-directed scene to have a heavy-duty family planning and then slasher flick stuff in the background, I guess.
Well, at least we're making good time through the video. We're almost a little over 10% finished.
Yeah, I know. I just that I want to get a feel for the film, and she's just like, "Oh, bodies are piling up." Like, what?
Because Maggie May Fish tends to lie about the plot of these movies.
I know she could have said like bombs are
It could
going
be
off
pathological.
in like Connecticut or something, and you're like, "Oh my god, that's horrible." But there's just two people they just talk about having a baby, and you're like, "Oh."
This is inspired 9/11.
Where's the context for this? I don't know.
Also, why are you focusing on the most boring aspect of a slasher movie, the interpersonal drama? The only the interesting stuff in the slasher movies are usually just the violence.
The suspense, the violence,
Yeah.
the killing, the blood splatter, the crazy way that someone dies. Yeah, there's all kinds of fun stuff in those sorts of films. So I don't know if this is going to be like some message at the end where she's like, oh, "I'm alive, and so is my child," because so many people died. Like some revelation about morals or ethics because so many people died, or she managed to survive. Therefore, life is precious or something. I don't know. That could happen. I'm never going to watch this film. I'm just like trying to connect the two, and my brain's like, I don't know what to do with this. This is. She could have been talking about baking an apple pie, and it's like, "I'm not gonna bake the apple pie. You can't tell me what to do." And then at the end, she's like, "Oh, I better bake that apple pie." Oh God.
Her sorority sisters get spooked by two armed members of a search party looking for the killer.
We wondered if you'd seen anything peculiar tonight.
Well, not until you got here.
Which, like, hypothetically could be a nice thing to do. Maybe leave the guns at home, just check in and say, hey. But watch, as the men keep trying to cross the threshold of the house, barring the doorway and physically cutting off the woman's escape. Ah, yes, nothing more
Escape?
comforting than armed men. With each interaction, the filmmakers are carefully crafting the actual...
It's their house. It's their sorority. What do you mean their escape? Men aren't allowed in there.
Also, another problem with this whole scene is just the fact that she is talking about it as if they're trying to get in. This is clearly meant to be a doofus comedy moment.
Yeah, they just want to keep the conversation going, so they keep the door open. They're not trying to actively enter the room. They're looking for a killer outside. They're not trying to get inside. Weird stuff, but okay, Maggie. Here is Zeke Kyle. Hey, how's it going, Zeke Kyle? From what I've observed, every single woman who's had an abortion to focus on her career ends up employed in a soulless office job, retail, or is that bitchy HR lady whose diet consists of family-sized padang, a boxed wine, and smells of cat urine. Oh.
Yeah, one of those variations, indeed.
That is oddly specific, so I don't know where that came from, sir, but I guess there's some life lessons you're sharing with me.
Zeke Kyle knows a lot more about these things than us. That's the conclusion that I have made.
Oh, God. All right. Okay. Back to the slasher flick.
Yay!
Logical horror of the film. That the killer could be any one of these men. That the angry boyfriend is just as capable of being the killer as these two doofs, who are just as capable of being the killer as a complete stranger.
Or the women, Maggie. How about that? It's a slasher flick. It's a mystery. We don't know.
No, it cannot be the woman because otherwise, why would Maggie talk about this movie?
Oh, yeah. I just checked out the what is it? The Rotten Tomatoes. And it's got a 71% from the reviewers and a 75% from the audience. So,
Is one of the reviewers Movie Bob?
I don't know, but we're talking about a 1974 flick that's supposed to be goofy and schlocky and a slasher film. So it's like, all right, that's pretty good for a pretty B-esque movie. We'll get to the other film later. I'm sure we will.
And no matter who it may or may not be, the people put in charge to protect you won't believe you.
Oh, this is an anti-cop movie, of course.
You know, for a public servant, I think your attitude really sucks.
When you're othered
But
by
you're
the powerful
smoking
system
in front of
male
this guy.
privilege, you're not allowed to know which men are kind and empathetic, and which men are just acting kind and empathetic to get you alone in a dark room. Much like the men in Black Christmas. Black Christmas was originally scheduled for its primetime network debut on January 28th, 1978. But on January 15th, just a few days before, a man broke into a sorority house at Florida State University. He assaulted and murdered 2 women. 3 other women were assaulted.
Wait, he's sexually assaulted. You could say sexually assaulted, Maggie.
You can also say rape.
These are words. They have meaning. They're part of the criminal code. What is the problem here? They're not bad words. They're not evil words. They're just words.
Because trigger warning, and because people believe that words are violence, and that they can...
Trigger warning, but like she made a video. Like that's enough trigger warning by itself.
Okay, so this is very similar to, let's say, the events of 9/11. They had to cut out certain parts of a video game because the release date.
I remember like really weird censorship after 9/11.
Metal Gear Solid 2.
There's an episode of Simpsons where like Homer visits the 2 towers to take a dump.
Oh boy.
And they didn't air that episode for 15 years.
Or when a lot of the promo material for Spider-Man, the original,
yes,
was,
that too.
A lot of 2 towers imagery, and I think they probably even had to rework the film because there was a 2 towers scene and they had to chop it out.
Yeah, Gigaman, we did a stream about Spider-Man. Gigaman talked about that for a bit. So yeah, I know there's lots of things that happen that because of the sensitivity, you don't want to freak anyone out, even if it's just fiction, even if it's just for fun, and it's just, everyone knows it's a slasher flick, not to be taken seriously. But there you go. You gotta watch out that image so you're not hurting anyone, even back in the 70s. So.
President survived. They had to push back their premiere until May of that year. That man was Ted Bundy, the all-American boy who preyed on women's kindness and skated on the advantage of authorities more willing to see themselves in Bundy than in the women who tried to report him.
Oh, but then good news! A year later, in 1980, we all solved sexism. We realized that gender is just self-expression and that we are much more alike than we are different. And much of those differences can be chalked up to the enforcement of a patriarchal system that helps no one and everyone.
What is happening, Maggie? What in 1980 changed the idea of the definition of the word sex and the reality that it is?
I think that she's being sarcastic, and she's saying that, like, you know how people have said, like, get over it. We're better than we are in the past. Stop complaining.
Let the past die.
Those people.
Yeah, this is
if you have to.
This is like where I sort of think she's trying to be the original Stephen Colbert, where he was acting like a goofy right-wing kind of political commentator in his original show.
Oh yeah.
That's where I'm getting her. Like I'm getting this vibe from her, but I think she actually believes this stuff.
There's also, you remember in the first video we ever watched, her daddy's video, where she said, we totally did not have a president who faked an assassination attempt on his dad. Oh, and we didn't elect a president who actively wants to plow his own daughter.
Oh, that one. Yeah.
Same difference. Only she's doing it with a yokel Michigan or Canadian accent.
Yeah, I don't know what background she's trying to pull off here. It's felt like Eastern Canadian, then it's like, no, not quite. And then, yeah, it's got that rhymey-timey old woman. Yeah, I don't know.
I thought like it's Miss Doubtfire for like that character from.
Yeah, maybe, I don't know.
Or what is it? The moose from Brother Bear. Kind of feels like that a little bit.
So some old style female talking old wife vibe.
This is like the 5th time that she has done this. It's just so bad.
Strange, yeah. It doesn't
like, does she have like zero self-awareness about this? Like nobody likes it. Like maybe that's why you had to like crawl back to like a different website to like fund your videos, because like there's not enough money for it.
I think it's because she's a complete moron. That's a big part of it.
Of course, that's self-explanatory, but like,
I would say she's running out of content.
Self-evident.
So she's got
She is running really dry.
Yeah. She is. Yeah, it's like a cow that has been fully drained of milk, and now it's trying desperately to eat some cud, but the only thing that's coming out is crap.
Oh dear. Okay. Anyway, we are 6 minutes almost done and halfway through, so good stuff.
Wee! And all the centipedes were eradicated from the planet, and the 4 nations lived together in harmony. Oh, I'm just pulling your leg. Well, without further ado...
The first Black Christmas remake came about in 2006, but the first post-Me Too remake came out in 2019, and in many ways expands on Clarke's original psychological horror. This time, it tackles the systems of patriarchal oppression within the hallowed halls of academia.
Really?
Instead of every man being a potential killer, every man is at risk of becoming a potential killer through radicalization and brainwashing perpetuated by tradition. A tradition of academia.
Yeah, because that's what happens in these or these fraternities, right?
Or even just the whole thing about I don't know, the fact that institutions are destroying people's brains nowadays and making them believe horrible myths about themselves.
Isn't that funny though? All the people that we've seen that are against this supposed like rape culture or reporting on men or other people ends up being the actual sexual abusers themselves when you go back in their...
I'm noticing a pattern here.
Yeah, like you see Amber Heard tried to ruin Johnny Depp's career, and then he sued her, and he basically cleaned her out for everything she owned.
By being a victim himself of the thing that she was accusing him of, which is strangely ironic and pathetic to actually do that, but...
And the whole thing about the has anybody here ever read The Coddling of the American Mind?
No.
Okay, so the book is a study of how universities are perpetuating the myth that what doesn't kill you makes you weaker. Your feelings are the most important thing to you.
Really?
And trump logic. And that words are violence. And that if you scream loud enough, you will be able to get your way.
When was this invented?
This was actually written, I think, in 2019 or 2020.
Oh my god!
I'm not sure when.
States.
This was written Yeah, it's written fairly recently, but it's a really good book. I actually highly recommend it for anybody looking to get some examination of why exactly all this crap is happening. Because it breaks down pretty clearly with a lot of studies and research, like even down to stuff like people avoiding peanut butter utter in order to, because they think that I'm not kidding, like there'll be people who say like we don't want our child to develop a peanut butter allergy. So what do? They just don't buy peanut butter, and lo and behold that kid develops a peanut allergy later on in life.
This is sounding like, I haven't read it yet, but the Gad Saad book, The Parasitic Mind. I've always wanted to get around to reading that. It's one of the few nonfiction books I should be picking up, but haven't gotten around to it. So yeah, no, there's definitely some good reading to do this year for me. But geez, this is getting silly. Someone mentioned in the chat about the Rotten Tomatoes score. I was about to bring that up. Yeah, the remake, the 2009. I didn't know there was a 2006, but the 2009 remake, 19 remake has 39% tomato meter from reviewers and 31% from the audience score. So, yeah, it's pretty bad.
Yeah, so that leads me to believe that the remake sucks.
Yeah, if you read the Wikipedia article, which I glanced through, it talks about rape culture, and there is an actual rape that occurs, and then there's other apparent. There's no such thing as rape culture. Let's just be clear about that. There's no such thing. There's no cavalcade of men going around teaching other men how to rape. That's ridiculous. That would never fly. You could argue there might be a clandestine group of thieves who might teach other thieves to be better, be master thieves or whatever, because that's an actual craft of how to open doors and get through boundaries and break security. That's a technique that you might even use in law enforcement. But criminal acts that are one of the most heinous on the planet in virtually every culture. No.
I think that there's kind of a thought process. Like, there's people like Harvey Weinstein or Bill Cosby that do exist.
Sure.
But it is not a matter of the culture. It is a matter of... There's a measure of permissiveness, shall we say, and an element of victims sometimes are scared to come forward because they don't know if they will be believed or not.
Well, culture to me implies a certain body of history that showcases a behavior within a society which is considered useful to the society. So we have culture for music and dance and writing and food and all kinds of things which
Sports.
they are part of
Olympic culture.
A behavior that has been repeated and seen as a good thing. You cannot have a culture of, let's say, violence. Violence is violence. Everyone does not like violence. You could train how to fight. You could train how to defend yourself. You could say that is violence as well, but that is the purpose for self-control, not to be using that in domestic scenarios. Like everyone I've ever met in martial arts, doesn't matter if it's boxing or an Asian martial art or what have you, it's all about control. They would never use this in reality, in public, unless it's to defend themselves, never to instigate anything. So this is like, you talk to any of the martial art. I don't know if you guys have ever met martial artists, but I met some guys who they devote their lives to martial art, or what have you. Say, if you need anything physically, like if you're in danger, I'm there for you. But that's it. Like we would never get into a fight. We would never instigate anything. If there's a argument, you stay out of it. It's none of your business. Like, you're always there if anything comes to blows. If some kid freaks out and gets angry, because I was working in a community center, and there was a course there in martial arts, and there's this guru dude there, and there was also people in the hockey rink, and there's fights that break out all the time, in the stands with the parents and on the ice. And sometimes this guy would walk by and break stuff up, but that would be it. It would be very simple, no big deal. Kids calm down, parents calm down. Never.
That sounds like a better version than what I experienced.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Street fights.
Yeah, I in high school, like the beginning of high school, we had like a guy, like a senior of us. He was doing wrestling, like boxing as well,
Okay.
and there was like another dude who was like talking back to him. And one day he decided to like get his other boxer friends with him and surround this guy, and they beat him up.
Oh my god.
So I'm like,
Wow.
yeah, that is like a more noble way of like using martial arts, like not using it to your advantage when you instigate like a fight. But yeah, it's just, I don't think like he was the best example of that.
That would be this was a guy who came from a family of martial artists. So his dad taught Sambo in Russia. He taught like not the Spetsnaz, but something like that, how to fight. So his son is the guy who he knew at least 15 to 20 martial arts. So he had all these disciplines behind him, and every single, he always tell me it's
That
never
sounds awesome.
done. Yeah, no, this guy, like he would run to work. Like he would, when it was even in winter in Canada, he would be doing push-ups at the bus stop, at the subway. Like, he just constantly training his body, constantly. It's weird. And he had jiu-jitsu friends and all these other weird guys visit him, and it was like, oh, this is interesting.
I had like a professor like that. He was like a monk
Really?
He was teaching us analytics and calculus at university, but like he really loves mathematics. But at the same time, he was like a priest as well.
Wow.
But at the time, like he wasn't like doing that. Instead, like he said, like, well, I work out and then I wake up in the middle of the night and I have like an idea and I have to write it down for my book, and then I go back to sleep and then I begin by exercise. I'm like, what the fuck is this guy? And he answered every single email that I sent. There are people like this. I'm just like, how do they have the energy?
Yeah.
It's beyond me.
They don't stop. They just like go, and
Kind of like Denzel Washington in Equalizer. It's just like he's man of focus.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah, that's generally what they teach in martial arts studios and classes and schools. And if they don't, then you got some weird teacher, really crazy teacher. So that's why I say a culture of violence, a culture of criminality, is something that gets weeded out of a society. And for a bunch of kids, a bunch of punks, that just is a lack of discipline on behalf of themselves or their teachers or bad teachers.
Mm-hmm. I would agree with that.
Anyway.
Academic institutions silencing victims of assault, rape, discrimination, and racism. The 2019 Black Christmas
Racism
follows.
Where is racism in this movie, Maggie? I didn't read that at all. I just
look at that bear. It's brown.
That's a pretty good.
So far from what I'm seeing, like it's mostly a bunch of white people.
Yeah, no, this is a pretty good Christmas front yard there. I'm rather impressed. So.
Oh, you should see there's actually near my house. There's a Jehovah Witness Kingdom Hall, but right next to it is this house where every season this family, I don't know who they are, I just pass them a lot when I'm driving out to wherever I need to go. They just have decorations like out the wazoo every single year. It's almost like they're trolling the Jehovah's Witnesses.
That's great. I do have a friend of a family who just does that for Halloween, but not for Christmas. So yeah, they go all out with all these animatronics and like waterproof robots and bullshit. Like they're crazy. They go nuts. Anyway.
Who's dealing with the aftermath of a sexual assault at a yearly Christmas mixer. Her and her fellow sorority sisters confront her assaulter and his friends.
Don't say that this was my fault, 'cause what you did is called assault.
But what is a triumphant moment for Riley
Okay.
is the catalyst for what comes next. A supernatural assault on
It's
all
so
of the
gay.
women on campus. Spurred on by a secret society of men operating in
what?
the shadows. When
What?
not all men first
slow
make
down.
rounds in response to Me Too.
Okay, I think like
What?
What is happening?
A supernatural assault.
Last 15 seconds was just like going off rails.
Yeah, so this is what I meant. This song, they talk about rape culture or something, and then
Yeah.
I don't know about a supernatural assault. I must have not read that yet in the
Supernatural sexual assault.
like some ghost rape. I don't know about that. That's kind of weird. I'm thinking of Ghostbusters maybe, but not this film. Okay, Maggie, whatever. I guess the patriarchy controls the supernatural world as well. All right.
I guess so.
Yeah.
Buster makes me feel good.
Okay.
Not surprising that instead of acknowledging oppression and sexism, that phrase gave men a way to ignore the point, allowing them to center themselves and return to the status quo of their feelings being held at a higher priority than the safety of other people. But of course, the reality of not all men is that women...
I think that was a big load of bull. If she actually showed me that scene, what was going on there about the argument, it would probably have nothing to do with what she just talked about.
In all likelihood, yes.
Men are selfish because they're arguing in the scene. It's like, can you show the scene, please?
To know which man it is and which man it's not. It's like being forced to play a game of Russian roulette, while men get to stand on the sidelines, reassuring.
No, don't do it, Maggie. Don't. Life has more meaning than this.
A mystery is not a game of Russian roulette, Maggie. I don't know what the hell you're talking about. It's who done it? Who did the murder? Oh my God. If it's a slasher flick, they're going to kill again. If it's a murder mystery, they might kill again, but they're hiding. They're acting non-suspiciously.
I think she's responding to the idea of rape culture.
The idea.
I think that that's what she's doing.
Oh God.
Based on like she's saying, "Oh, you don't know when you're going to be raped by a dude."
You don't know when you're going to get a flat tire either, or a bunch of other random events in your life. I don't. Like what kind of logic is this?
Everyone, that don't worry, not all the chambers have a bullet. To me, the 2019 version of this story speaks to the surreal experience of being a quote-unquote modern woman. We're now invited to share space with traditionally men-only space.
I really don't think slasher flicks are some sort of slice of life experience. I really, really don't. I don't think there's some crazy psychopath with a knife going around killing women in your university experience. There might be some bad examples in Montreal or this or that in the past, but they're usually very quick and very violent with guns, not some psychopath with a knife who sneaks around at night. So, wouldn't put too much onus on the relativity of a 2019 horror film.
Mm-hmm.
Huge step towards equality, but access. The ivy walls may accept your physical presence, but that can end up making you a more primed and vulnerable target.
The ivy walls. Can you just rewind that? What the hell she just said?
I think they're
the ivy walls of the Ivy League University.
Mm-hmm. That's my thought as well.
The ivy walls may accept your physical presence, but that can end up making you a more primed and vulnerable target.
So
does anyone even use that expression? Like ivy walls?
Really.
So because you got accepted into university or college as a body, you could die.
You could die anywhere, actually.
I don't know.
Doesn't even depend only on you.
Yeah, I don't know where she's getting that sort of idea from. It's like, you go to post-secondary education, you could die. It's like, Maggie, it's just a movie. It's really not that believable. It's a slasher flick, Maggie.
It has women in it.
Yeah, are the Halloween films believable? Are they slice of life and based off reality? No, they're really not. Same with
this movie is about the patriarchy taking over. I tell you guys.
Anyway, let's keep going.
When I was graduating, women decorating their caps with Title IX in protest of a professor who at the time had been accused of Title IX prohibits discrimination on the basis of sex by educational institutions that receive federal funding. Or so it says on paper. But it probably doesn't come as a shock that institutions are first and foremost concerned about the institution. When more women came forward with allegations against this professor, a female colleague of his wrote an op-ed in which she called the whole thing melodrama and cast doubt on the women's stories.
Wow.
In Black Christmas, one of the sorority sisters that Riley is closest to betrays her.
I'm helping women. Everything is so out of whack. It's so much easier this way.
Earlier, I mentioned the cost of access to these spaces. And for some women, the way that they pay that fee is by siding with the patriarchy.
Wait. What are we talking about, Maggie? What was that thing about Title IX where she graduated and then they put the Title IX on their caps?
But she also said that like she herself, when she graduated, had that Title IX on her, whatever that thing is. It's such a fucking self-insert in this.
So because Title IX and because character in film is an accomplice, therefore women are taking the easy way out by siding with the patriarchy to do what?
If you're not with me, then you're my enemy.
Who are the patriarchy, Maggie? In reality, what is happening? This is where we get confused, where she's talking about the film and then she just generally talks about life, and you're like, what? When does this happen? Where?
Anyway, here's my feminist agenda.
In my life, we put Title IX on our caps. And in this film, there's a lady who sides with the bad guys. Therefore, the patriarchy. Like, wait, what? How?
It's really dumb.
If you're not with me, you're with the patriarchy.
It's gone. Like, my brain is like, where did we jump from A? Like, this is when we talk about the female brain, how it just connects ideas without actually logic. Just stuff happens, image and brain idea. Oh, it must be mathematics that we add 1 + 1, therefore reality. It's like, no. That's called creativity in your brain. It doesn't mean it's in reality, honey. Okay, anyway, I'm going to calm down now. Because that was weird.
We're almost done, Smud, don't worry.
Yeah, holy jeez.
Favorite decisions of this film was the casting of Carrie Elwes as the cool, cold, intellectual misogynist hiding behind a wall of steely blue eyes. I don't know a single person who didn't completely fall in love with Carrie as a kid watching The Princess Bride.
Oh, that's him?
As you wish.
Yep,
And while the
that
original
is
Black
Carrie
Christmas
Elwes.
film played on the theme that any man could be the one to hurt you, this film says even the ones you trusted, even loved at one point, can end up being more invested in your oppression than in your well-being. Earlier this year, as research for another project, I read the nonfiction book We Keep the Dead Close, A Murder at Harvard and a Half-Century of Silence by Becky Cooper. It follows Becky's investigation into the murder of a Harvard student in 1969, and the rumor that she had been sleeping with a professor who killed her when she threatened to tell his wife. As Becky follows the paper trail of evidence and first-hand accounts, her investigation expands into the territory of urban legend. Not because the student wasn't murdered by a professor, but because sexual violence and assault on campus is so commonplace that it became shorthand for women to warn one another of the dangers that might await them just for gaining the access to an education.
Are you joking? Are you?
Apparently, no.
Because you went to post-secondary education, you might be raped. You might be killed.
Apparently, yes.
Is this like Maggie? Do a documentary on convenience stores. You enter a convenience store, you might be raped. You might be killed.
You might be killed because you get charmed by a professor.
Because the patriarchy of Indian, potentially Chinese immigrants who try to get by and open up a convenience store. And, oh my God, like, what? One person was killed on a campus, 30, 40 years ago, whatever. Therefore, look out, you might get killed and raped. Look out, ladies. Oh,
Apparently, yes.
Let's forget all the stats on car crashes and cancer and diabetes and other violent crimes, different cities, different states. No. If you go to post-secondary education, might get raped, might get killed. Okay.
That guy diabetes gonna get you.
This is Whew. Okay, we're good.
Just as Black been told and retold, remade and rewritten, and especially with this most recent retelling, the original premise has been heightened to a supernatural spectacle. But the core of its themes, unfortunately, remain as relevant as ever.
No. The original was about murder. Wasn't about rape. The 2019 was about the whole rape weird cult thing.
Also, like, she took her time to only bring up that, like, actual case of, like, a professor murdering a student. It was, like, kept in secret. It's just, like...
Yeah.
Is that one incident gonna be, like, her entire gig that, like, oh, well, this is not a safe space for women?
Yeah, the original film was about some prank phone caller calling up the sorority, and then like he's making all these like obscene sounds, like ugh. And like one of the girls tries to like poke fun at the guy with the phone, and he's like, "I'm gonna kill you." And then later on, she dies, and that's the whole thing. Oh my God, who did that? That's it. There's not some clandestine group of men, plotting women's deaths by being goofballs on the phone. There's no rape, as far as I know. There's no rape. So I didn't read enough. It's murder. It's really about murder, Maggie. And 2019, I don't know about the 2006 one, but 2019 is about that weird rape cult or whatever the hell that is. Which is fiction. It's not real. It's not based around anything. As far as I know, I don't think there's a rape cult running around in
run by the patriarchy.
Yeah, the fraternities of various college campuses. I just don't think that's a thing. That would have been found out a long time ago.
Yep.
All right.
Films have the ability to communicate ideas for which there are no words, to communicate experiences that are hard to express. So as long as there are films, there will be women cuddling up to watch them together, to experience and express the horrors that pierce through what is otherwise a beautiful and pretty chill experience of womanhood.
No, Maggie, women like horror movies. They just do. I don't know why. There's reasons. Everyone has their own reason.
They do. They really do. I have a new colleague who is just obsessed with horror movies.
Yeah, they love it. And you could say, oh, it's about this time in their life, or they're scared, and oh, they get excited, and they get all these hormones running through their body, and they feel better when it's gone and it's over. I don't know. I really don't know. And that's fine. I don't need to know. But to say that it's about the time in college and learning and discovering what you want to do with your life, I mean, that's every shonen manga, that's every young adult fiction, it's not just for female, it's like everyone who wants to read fiction about that kind of stuff, or that genre rather. So there has to be a specific reason why people like horror, and it could be subjective or whatever, but not because it might involve rape and it might involve killing.
You know what? It's kind of like this idea has like stuck in my head that like, what if like someone would like legit go and read a statistic about this, like how many men are killed in campuses? Like then we would get the result that like that more men died
Right.
like, in the campus, like being murdered. Than
Yeah, we had that dumb stat I think 10 years ago from York University in Toronto, saying 1 in 4 women on college campuses are going to be raped per year or something like that. I was like, what? That cannot be accurate. There's not. I know there are unreported rapes or unreported violent crimes all the time, but it's like, where did you get your data? You have to have some basis for that claim, and there was no basis. It was just someone fudged some study they were working on, and it wasn't even in Canada. I think it was some other campuses or some other schools. Like all these dumb numbers that come out in the past, I'd say probably the past 12 years, 13 years, of just dumb studies from social sciences, or I wouldn't say forensic science, but it must be somewhere along those lines to get that data to talk about these topics. I'm like looking at these crime stats, like that doesn't make any sense. That's not even feasible. So, anyway.
I just feel like women.
Aww.
What?
That is so cute.
What was the message?
Oh, well, it's my friends coming over. I've been playing poker with the gals for 20 years. Can you believe it? I keep away collectively. They owe me about $20,000, but they do bring over chocolate-dipped pretzel rods, so it evens out. I hope you all have a wonderful holiday break with your family and friends, and see if you can't slip in a ghost story or two of your own. I'm coming! You better be ready to get your curtains clean!
If you're looking for the perfect gift...
All right, that was weird.
That was quick.
Yeah,
Wow.
she left it, and she just cut off the message of that lady for whatever reason. Maybe there was a message that the movie had that was contrary to what Maggie was trying to say, I guess. That's why she cut it out. I don't know. It was weird. But I'm happy she went from a streaming service, or rather ended on a streaming service for sponsorship as opposed to a porn website. Oh, there's more? What is... Oh my God, what is that? Is this just still Mubi?
It's
I think it's just
with
movie.
Political commentary on the stagnation of late 1970s Hungarian society.
What?
You know, something the
what?
whole family can enjoy. Every single film
Holy
on
shit.
Mubi is hand-selected.
No,
It's like your
she's
own
after me
personal
now.
film Festival.
I gotta run.
Anytime, anywhere. One of my favorite things about film is getting to share them with others, which makes Mubi a
I thought she went from porn to... Now it's just basically just a bunch of adult stories on TV. Ah, God. All she thinks about is sex. Is that the whole thing, Maggie? It's just constant?
Yes.
Oh, we know for sure she was obsessed with the green door, or whatever that...
Oh, God. That was obscure. Let's bring up 70s porn with this other film for no reason. Like, thanks, Maggie. That's great.
It's actually a good movie. You don't deserve to eat the corn out of Tyler Durden's crap, you piece of crap lady.
All right.
Perfect gift for get-togethers over the holidays. At Mubi.com/gifts, you can choose to give a 3-month subscription or an entire year. So grab a subscription for a friend. And hey, while you're at it, treat yourself. Sign up for Mubi free for 30 days at Mubi.com/mmfish. That's MUBI.com/mmfish for a whole month of great cinema for free. Thank you so much for watching. And an extra special thank you to all my patrons.
All right, fair enough.
Oh, that was exceptionally quick.
Alrighty, good stuff. Let's see if we got any stream memes for the Fishter. If not, we'll call it a day. Man, that was... I mean, I thought it was going to be a full 13 minutes, but apparently not. So, all right.
Like 10, and that's it.
Yeah. Do we have any memes for Maggie May? Let's find out.
Then at least a couple of them are going to be, "Will you kindly call me Daddy?"
I can't read that, so I'm going to say thank you. Looks like The Grinch? I don't know. I think it's The Grinch.
I wash myself with quackalash on a stick. Yeah, that's the guy in that episode.
There he is. All right. Oh no, what's this? Not me catching a flight to Utah to meet this man I met online 2 days ago with only $120 in my account. He said I won't need anything, not even...
bags?
Ted Bundy would be doing triple doubles every day in this generation.
Oh. You hate Christmas, you're going to steal it. Save Christmas is all the way too commercial. Brilliant! You reject your own nose because it represents the glitter of commercialism.
All right. I really like the analogy of sexism being like Russian roulette. It's kind of similar to another analogy about survivors punishing the guys who haven't done anything wrong, where if someone gives you 5 water bottles and told you there was cyanide in only one of the bottles, you probably wouldn't drink all of them and just hope for the best, but just throw them all away. What is the message?
Maggie Mae's comments are just as confusing as her videos.
Well,
this is even edited.
I have to spend another minute just reading this again. I don't want to. I'm going to keep going because there's more comments. Another interesting thing is how Claire, the first victim in the 74 film, is basically a final girl archetype. The one who doesn't engage...
Final girl?
The one who doesn't die, I guess? The one who doesn't engage in sinful behavior. Oh, okay, I get it. As if it's actively rejecting any possible implication that the victims are being punished or that remaining chaste and sober protects women from male aggression. If the movie hadn't been made before the genre was solidified, I'd assume it was a meta-commentary on slasher tropes. Are you sure about that? I vouch for Black Christmas almost every time early slashers are brought up. Fascinating movie. Okay, maybe it is a good movie. I have no idea. But the whole thing about the meta-commentary from slasher flicks, that is either patently false or it's just a silly thing that a director might have said, oh, yeah, we did that. We totally did that. We totally wanted the chaste virginal woman who's not fooling around with all the guys at the cabin to survive in the Jason films or whatever. It's like, sure, yeah. That's what you were thinking. You just didn't they didn't want to just sell films to like the horny teenager generation. No. They were really thinking these deep themes, I'm sure.
Totally.
Yeah, are all men dangerous? Probably not. But could any man be dangerous? Empirically, yes. Well, so could any...
It's actually emphatically yes, for whatever reason.
Yeah, anything could be dangerous. A table leg could be dangerous. It's genuinely something most men aren't even aware of, and if we are... What? It's something we can easily ignore because I'm not one of those guys? What do you mean by that? I've never had male privilege explained so clearly or so chillingly as in this video. Fantastic work, Maggie. Thank you. Are you out of your...
You're out of your gourd.
What are you male... Where is the male privilege, sir? In a slasher flick. What are you talking about? A guy wants to give up all his ambitions to be responsible for a child that he fathered. Okay? That's male privilege? Really?
Apparently.
Even if it's told in a very odd manner in a slasher flick, which is probably not the right place, but fine. Maybe the lazy cops had male privilege. Maybe, I don't know. Wow, these people read so much into her bull that they're inventing their own version of it. It's wild. Okay, last one. It's funny to me how in Black Christmas, 2006, which I don't even know, she barely mentioned it. The only misogynistic theme was the red herring cartoon villain, cheating boyfriend who made revenge porn and called the girls
Prawn.
Yeah, I know what they mean. Yeah, and we could say the word porn. It's okay. And the killer itself wasn't a blank stand in for any man capable of violence toward women, but some guy named William and Jaundice. Okay, that movie knew no subtlety. Okay. We didn't even talk about that, but fine. Come on, Death. Leave McGrew alone. Take Tiny Tim. Oh, God. What's this? Patriarchy. Yay. Are we forgetting the true meaning of this day? The birth of Santa. Okay.
Diabetes. That guy diabetes is going to get you.
Oh.
My name is Wilford Brimley, and I'd like to talk to you about diabetes.
Here we go. Oh, it's the... Yeah, there you
go. What the fuck is that?
Some kind of eldritch abomination.
Oh, boy. I went to college.
Bull crap. Well, actually, no, I definitely believe you went to college. You just went to a terrible college.
Yeah, this is me like...
Cool story, but... Cool story, but...
Oh, boy. Hate, double hate. Yeah, well... I don't know.
Love that. Loathe entirely.
Yeah.
It's Thursday, or as I like to call it, day 4 of the hostage situation.
And here we have...
oh my god, it's Justin?
I'm not sure what that is.
But it's PM, so...
It may not be him, because we don't actually think he's the prime minister. We think it's a bunch of other people. He doesn't do anything.
Might be the real PM.
It could be, yeah. We have no idea, because we have no clue what he's going to say next, and he's barely in office or in the House of Commons, and other people speak for him, so... Yeah, no, whenever he does speak, he gets trounced on by everyone else, so it's kind of frightening.
Mm-hmm.
But that's if you watch CPAC, which you don't because it's boring. Okay.
Lame.
Anyway, holy hell, we missed Maggie May Fish for months. That was enough. That was more than enough. We're good. We're good for the next few months. We don't need any more.
Or we can just watch some of her hour-long videos.
I'll watch them by myself to see if they're worthy. Like maybe the first 10 minutes to see if it's good working with, because that one was just, it was so quick and so dumb that you're like, Maggie, you're jumping so quickly that I can't process what you're on about. At least with the 20-minute ones, she's slowed down and she'll have like a stupid monologue about cats or painting her face or something.
Or the whole thing about, what was it? T.H. White? Is it T.H. White being a Nazi? Or T.S. Eliot? I can't remember.
I think it was Eliot. Yeah, no, that was just out there. Jesus.
Yeah.
Oh boy. Well, yeah, guys, that was Maggie May Fish. That was more than enough. I don't think I need a drink. I just need to like sit in a chair alone for like 10 minutes. That'll be better. So
Yeah.
thank you guys.
I'm just gonna go eat.
Thank you,
Go to
Dunn.
the gym.
All right, good idea.
Of course.
Always a pleasure, and thank you, Mark, for popping in. I would appreciate it.
Oh, sure.
I will talk to you guys later. Have yourself a great evening, and